Welcome to another episode of Eating Labels, and I have the beautiful Marcela Oliveira, personal trainer. She has her own business at Mindful and Body Fitness out of Miami. How are you doing today, Marcela?
I'm doing great. How about you, Craig?
Doing good. I'm doing good. And the reason we do these shows, Marcela, is because we want to give people information to try and taste everything on their weight loss journey, their health journey, and fitness journey. So I interview people from different walks of life. It can be eating, it can be spin class, it can be anything. You don't necessarily have to be in business. So that's the reason why I do this and get information to the people. So my first question to you is, why did you get started being a personal trainer? And before you answer that question, uh, Marcela was an All-American volleyball player for the University of South Florida. All-American. She's broken many records. You can YouTube her, look her up. She was the real deal volleyball player. So with that said, and your home native town is Brazil, is that correct?
Yes, yes, from Brazil.
Okay, great. Glad to have you. And what made you become a personal trainer?
Well, I've always been, I've always been, like you said, a volleyball player, been an athlete my entire life. Started playing very young, and I also got into coaching very young. Coached little kids in club high school, and I got into college coaching. I realized I was actually pretty good at mentoring and coaching and helping others become better versions of themselves. But at that level, it was very difficult for me to have a nice balance in my life, work and personal, and so I was always on the road, eating all kinds of stuff, not really taking care of my personal health. And I wasn't really happy. So I decided that I wanted to use that, um, you know, how you say that? I wanted to use the ability that I had and the um, yeah, like my passion for helping others in a different way. And I've always been passionate about fitness and sports. And so I decided to get my certification a couple years ago. Decided to move to Miami and just make a total life change decision. And I'm loving it. It's definitely one of the best things I've ever done. I love helping people, especially women. I specialize in women's health and fitness. Have been working with my clients for over a year, some of them a year and a half now, and getting some pretty good results, and just excited to be able to make a real impact, and to share my knowledge and to learn more about fitness and health, and to really be able to mentor and become someone that they can come to with any kinds of questions or any kinds of concerns, and push them to become the best possible versions of themselves.
Okay. Now, before we get to your clients, I have noticed, I've been knowing you for probably the last 10 years, me being down here in Tampa when you played at USF and then when you used to coach. I noticed a difference in the shrinkage, if I can use that word, in your body size. Okay. And I don't like to use the word diet or weight loss because not only does the outside need to look good, but we have to be careful what we put on the inside of our body.
Absolutely.
So how much weight did you lose total in your transformation period?
So from the time you've known me to now, I'm down about 25 pounds, close to 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your body fat percentage right now?
As of yesterday morning, it was at 18.3%.
Okay.
And back when I was at my heaviest, I was at 180, 180 pounds. I was about 25% body fat.
Okay. And now with working out, okay, and I know you work out a lot because I see your Instagram videos, and we're going to give the people information so they can look at some of your videos to help keep them inspired and motivated. Did you change, not only were you working out, you took that to a whole entirely new level. You probably work out every day, but Did you change your eating habits any? Did that change?
Yes, absolutely. That's actually, it's, you know, I've never really believed when people would say, oh, it's 80% eating, 20% exercising. To me is 90% eating, you know, and the rest is exercising. I think that when I really decided to focus on my diet and learning how my body would react to different things, that's when I really started seeing a lot of results. Especially, I would say, in the last 3 to 4 months, that's when things really started to change a lot. So definitely diet, it's very, very important.
Okay. Now let's jump to your client side because you probably get a lot of phone calls, a lot of questions. What are some of when people come see you? What is it that they want to do? What do they want to change about themselves, their journey? What do you see?
Or the majority of my clients, I think that there is something. I think obviously it's body image, right? You know, a lot of people are self-conscious about something in their bodies. It can be their stomachs or legs or arms. You know, for a lot of women, their butts. So I think that most of the people come with the physical aspect of, you know, what they want to change, what the change that they want to see. They want to tone up, they want to lose fat, you know, all those things that we hear over and over again in the fitness industry. But to me, when I talk to a client, the first thing I want to know is, okay, let's talk about habits. Let's talk about what are you doing on a regular basis? Not only, you know, some people are completely sedentary, they've never done anything. So anything that you do with them, they're going to start seeing changes. But also with their diets, you know, like I said, like that's one of the first things that I tell all of my clients when I first meet them is, you know, we got to sit down and let's see what we're eating. And then from there, you know, I'm able to have a better idea of how to best direct to you, and you know the health aspect. It's we're gonna take care of that 1st. You're gonna start feeling better, and then we're gonna start seeing the results that you really want.
Okay. Okay. Now take us through a typical. Let's say obviously if you have a client that works out a lot, as opposed to a client that's coming to you like, hey, Marcela, I haven't worked out in 15 years. Okay. Obviously, you're going to treat them differently. You can't take the person that hasn't worked out and just take them through a rigorous workout. So how would you, how many days a week would you suggest the person that hasn't worked out in a while, maybe in the last 6 or 7 years, what kind of plan would you form for them? How many days a week would you prefer they train? And so forth. Okay,
so my recommendation to start, it doesn't matter if you've been training for a long time or if you're not, but at least 3 times a week of in moderate to intense training for at least 30 minutes a day. This is my initial recommendation for everyone, regardless of your level, of your age, whatever.
Okay, now we went over all the good stuff on the industry, right? You know, everything's good, everything's going. What are some of the stigmas in your industry, the fitness industry, that you see that people may be afraid or it gets a bad rap? What are some of the things you see and some of the myths that you can debunk and say, hey, that's not what it is, and kind of go from there?
Yeah, I think to me, you know, as a woman and as a female trainer, I hear a lot of people, especially the women, coming to me and saying, oh, but you know, I don't want to lift weights because I'm going to look bulky.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest myth. Myth number 1 is, you know, lifting weights is going to make you look bulky. Right. Definitely not true. And I actually had a conversation with one of my clients today about that because she was freaking out because her hairdresser told her that her upper body was getting too big. And I said, look, let's look at your numbers. When you first started with me, you know, in 6 weeks, you lost 4% body fat. Where are we now? You know, she gained 3%. out of those 4% that she had lost. So yeah, that's where like if lifting heavy does not make you bulky, you want to build that muscle, but at the same time, you want to burn fat. And obviously is the conjunction of the training with the diet. So if we're doing everything right in the gym, something is telling me that outside of that, something is not being taken care of. So yeah, and there's not a bigger myth than that. That's, you will not look bulky. You don't have to be afraid of lifting weights. Lift heavy, lift intense, sweat, breathe hard, and with following a good nutrition program, you'll definitely get the results that you're looking for.
Okay. Now that we debunked some of those myths, we got that out of the way. Now let's go on to some of your success stories. What has been, every client is a great client. That's the way I look at it when I train volleyball players. I don't put one ahead of the other. But what are some of the success stories you had that you're proud of and that your customers happy with and satisfied with? What does their transformation look like?
Okay, so I have one client who is a male client, and he's 73 years young. And I love saying that because he is, he has so much energy, and he just sees life from a very different aspect. He suffered a heart attack about a year ago. And he's had never done any type of exercising before. Doctor recommended that he would look for a personal trainer because if he didn't exercise, he could die. So the fear of death has brought him, to me. And we started working together. And within the first, I think, 2 months that we worked together, he went back to do a checkup. His cholesterol levels were lower. His heart was working at a much higher percentage than it had when it first started. And his overall health was definitely going the right direction. So to me, that was definitely a big, very tangible. There's no before and after pictures, but just to have those results in those tests that he is going in the right direction, that's definitely a big success story for me. Another one, I think that most of my clients, like I said, they're mostly women, but I hear, and especially this past a couple weeks, people that have been with me for about 4 or 5 months, some 6, been saying, hey, I really like the way my arms are starting to look, or, I feel stronger, and they're asking me to add more weight to whatever their exercise that they're doing, and again, the tangible, yes, I do all of the testing before and after, but the verbal testimonies to me are way more powerful than anything that I can read on paper, and them feeling better, feeling healthier, feeling stronger, feeling more confident, their relationships are getting better. And so all of that to me is a big, big success for sure.
And that's great. And you touched on a little bit about the health, the 73-year-old client.
Mm-hmm.
As you know now, a lot of people are having diabetes early, high blood pressure. What would you say to the person that's working, 6 days a week, they don't get a chance to go to the gym, and they go to the doctor, their blood pressure, diabetes may be elevated, they may have high blood sugar, or their blood pressure may be elevated, they haven't been in the gym. What would you suggest they do? They don't want to get in the gym, or they're fearful to work out. What would your message be to people that want to work out but may be afraid to step into a gym based on the way they may look, and they just never been in a gym before? What would your message be to them?
Well, I get that all the time. I think especially for people that have never done anything before, they feel intimidated by that environment, and it's a male-dominated environment, obviously, and so for women or the elderly or people that have never, even males that have never really worked out before, I think that with the health issues that we see today, It's so much comes from the foods that we're eating, from the lack of sleep, from some other types of drugs that we're, alcohol consumption and smoking, all those things that are just bringing our health levels all so much lower. And instead of preventing, we're treating those things. So I think the first thing is, definitely I encourage everybody to look for a professional, a qualified professional who can give them some type of advice,
Right.
who can be a support system to them. Because a lot of people, when they first decide that they want to get into that fitness journey, they don't really have a strong support system, and nobody around them is really worried about what they're eating, or you know not drinking, or limiting the alcohol, or limiting the consumption of sugar, and learning about those things. So I encourage them to educate themselves, research, read, and try to make one small change at a time. First, I think, like, diet, obviously. I don't, when a client first comes to me, I don't tell them, hey, you got to cut all the sweets. That's all, if that's all they eat, you got to cut everything. Let's go radical. No, it's impossible. That's a recipe for failure. It's one step at a time. So if you had, 3 slices of cake in a day, okay, let's decrease to 2 instead of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so little things like that, step by step, making small changes. If you're sedentary and you work behind a desk all day, stand up for a little while. If you have to be on the phone, stand up instead of sitting down. Take the stairs to work instead of taking the elevator. If you work on the, on a higher floor, park a little bit further away from where you have to go, so you have to walk a little bit more. And just little things like this, I think that just little small changes definitely add up at the end. We don't really realize, but they do.
Well, Marcela, I want to thank you for coming on. I don't want this to be a one-time deal. I think you're amazing. You're doing great things, and you get pleasure out of helping people reach their goals, whether that may be eating or weight loss. There's a sense of accomplishment when somebody reaches their goal. You're giving a service to people, and we want to get this information to people. How can people get a hold of you? Phone number. If you don't want to give that out, that's fine. Where can they follow you? Where can they go?
So my IG is Marcela Oliveira. So it's Marcela. My last name, Oliveira _fitness. Okay, so Marcela Oliveira _fitness. That's my IG. I'm also on Facebook under Marcela Oliveira, and I have a Facebook page also under my first and my last name. So Marcela Oliveira, you can find on those 3 platforms. And then, definitely you can, if you're interested in training, if you're interested in some consultation, happy to help. Just send me a DM, and I'll get back with you.
Good. And then I'm going to post this on YouTube, Marcela, and then I'll have all the information. You send all that stuff to me, where people can get a hold of you in the area and so forth. Do you do any online consultations at the moment?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's great. And I'll post that also. So we're not going to make this a one-time deal. I want to have you back. Future shows may go over what exercises people can do, food plans, and things like that. So it was a pleasure today. And thank you very much for coming on and help getting people inspired and motivated. And that's why I do the things that I do and have these particular shows. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Marcela.
My pleasure. Thank you.